So I want to briefly explain to you what this Shades of Green is about. When Tommy was on the ballot back in 2010, a group of us were together. That group would be, we call ourselves the A team. It's Mario and Monica, who work with Tommy at the county, and then whoever his campaign assistants are at the time, and Tommy and myself. And we were in a meeting, and we were trying to think of something new and exciting and different to do, and I was wanting to get more involved, and so we came up with this idea to have this women's luncheon. So this was back in 2009, and it was so fun, and it was so, yeah, it was just exciting. Everyone had a great time. It was informative, and so as soon as it was over, we said we need to do this again. Our theme that first year, because my favorite color is green, and because Tommy is very much into green everything, we decided to call it Shades of Green. Having done the first one, when we wanted to do another one, we're like, okay, now what? You know, we can't change the color, we kind of have a theme going on, and so we decided that what we were going to do is go through Tommy's 6 transformational issues. If you have not heard Tommy's speech on his 6 transformational issues, I'm sure he would be happy to give it to you. But over and above what he's responsible for as a county commissioner, he has taken on 6 things that he thinks are extremely important to the community. Those things are, this is always a test. And our first year was resource recovery and recycling. The second Shades of Green we had was healthcare. The third Shades of Green we had last year was jail population and reentry. This year, our theme is Neighborhood Revitalization. We have 2 left, and they are energy and transportation. And so now each year, Shades of Green just chooses another one of Tommy's 6 transformational issues. We invite some very special guests that know a lot about our particular topic, and they come and inform us on some ideas about that respective topic. So welcome to Neighborhood Revitalization. This is our 2012 topic. This is an important topic to Tommy, and it's kind of fun. Tommy and I don't see each other a whole lot. But when we're getting ready for a Shades of Green, we schedule some meetings, and we talk about what topic is coming up. And neighborhood revitalization is one of those things that's really important to Tommy because he has never left the neighborhood that he was raised in. When Tommy was born at Santa Rosa Hospital and he went home to 140 Golden Crown. That was his primary residence. And you know where we live right now? 128 Golden Crown. 3 houses down from where Tommy was raised. My experience was very different. When I got taken home from Wilford Hall Hospital, where I was born, I went to my house at 230 Stolnet in Eastwood Village off of W.W. White Road. Anybody know where that is? Yay? Until I was 14 years old. Then my family moved to a newer subdivision, Camelot, on Round Table, out by Roosevelt High School. Then I went away to college, and when I came back, I moved to a newer neighborhood out off of Medical Drive because I was working at USAA, and I never went back. I never went back and saw Eastwood Village. I never went back and saw Camelot during all of that time. And then I married Tommy, and I moved back into Southeast San Antonio, and everything had changed tremendously. And I realized why he feels so strongly about neighborhood revitalization and making sure that you stay focused, that you have at least a small cadre of people that stay focused on keeping a neighborhood uplifted so that it can be a good, safe, beautiful place for you to live that you can have pride in. And so that's what brings us to our neighborhood revitalization Shades of Green. Today we have some excellent speakers for you and a really entertaining video of Tommy for you a little bit later. So without further ado, we're going to get started. Next, we are going to hear from Susan Schopp. She's the president of the Neighborhood Resource Center, and let me tell you what that is. That is an independent 501c3 nonprofit organization that provides educational programs and informational resources to community groups in order to enhance their ability to effectively represent and develop their neighborhoods. Susan is also the owner-operator of Neighborhood News Incorporated, where she works with neighborhood associations in San Antonio, Austin, and Dallas to publish their newsletters, websites, and directories. I also understand this organization has an award named after my husband. Yeah, that's great. Please welcome Susan.
Greetings. As I look around the room and I see all of you beautiful ladies in your different shades of green, I think that's just a perfect theme. I mean, we're all, to me, the different shades represent our different shades of life, energy, talent, and obviously this room is full of a lot of life, energy, and talent. So can we all have a round of applause for you guys? I'd also like to thank Karen so much. This is the first time I've met her, but I'm very thrilled to have met her. And I want to thank Tommy for having me here today. My name is Susan Schopp, and I'm the chair of the Neighborhood Resource Center. We are a teeny tiny little nonprofit, and Tommy has been there for us over the years, every single step of the way, and we are so thankful to him for that. Thank you. Which brings me to why I am here today. I am the chair of the Neighborhood Resource Center, and I'm just curious how many of you have ever heard of us? Wow, that's actually great. Yay, I'm glad to hear that. Tommy's, okay, well, there you go. We are a nonprofit organization that originated in 1989 as the San Antonio Coalition of Neighborhood Associations. The original intent of the organization was to create a conference where neighborhood leaders could network and learn about how to better help their neighborhoods. This huge undertaking started with a small group of individuals who had a deep commitment to San Antonio and our wonderful neighborhoods. In 1994, we became the Neighborhood Resource Center. Over the years, we developed many programs, including our annual conference, roundtables, networking events, our annual awards luncheon, Tommy has an award, the Neighborhood Youth Award, and a neighborhood leadership development program. But why? Why did these people feel that there was a need for the Neighborhood Resource Center? Because back in the mid-'70s, mandatory associations and voluntary associations became very different animals in the city of San Antonio and all across the nation, and they needed more representation. The very basic difference between these two types of organizations is one is mandatory. You join the association when you buy your home. How many of you here are a part of a mandatory association? It is included in your covenants that you will pay dues every single month, and that is a part of your home ownership. And if you don't pay your dues, you can get in a lot of trouble. Those dues go, though, to managing your association. They go for legal issues, accounting issues, all kinds of different things in your neighborhood. But you don't have a choice. You pay dues whether you like it or not. Voluntary associations, is that the rest of you? Are the rest of you part of a voluntary association? Okay, a voluntary association is an association you join by choice. Your neighborhood wasn't created with a mandatory association in place, so you choose to join. A mandatory association, dues can run anywhere to a couple of $100 every single month. A voluntary association is one that you may pay $10 a year to be a part of your neighborhood association. And then why do people join voluntary associations? Usually there's a cause that encourages them to join. Maybe crime in the neighborhood, graffiti. Maybe you have a crack house next door and you want to do something about it. That is those are the main reasons people join voluntary associations. But nevertheless, both organizations are generally formed through a desire to make the neighborhood a better place to live. But at the same time, they're often at the mercy of those in charge. At the NRC, we work with both types of organizations. In mandatory associations, there is often a manager who handles the business of the neighborhood. But what residents often don't realize in mandatory associations is that manager works at your pleasure. And it's always important to get involved with your neighborhood. The more you're involved, even though someone else may be running the day-to-day duties of the association, the more you know about what's going on in your neighborhood, and the decisions that are being made on your behalf are very important. Voluntary associations are a very different animal. There is no manager in charge. The volunteers who are on the boards and the committees are in charge of running your association. But at the same time, they can often be targets for people who are unhappy about things in their neighborhood. It can truly be a thankless job to be a volunteer on a neighborhood association. But I want to tell you a little more about the NRC and neighborhood volunteerism. How many of you are on your neighborhood boards or involved in your neighborhood association? Well, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. For those of you who aren't familiar with neighborhood boards, who have only heard a few things, oftentimes that can be a very negative perception. I mean, your idea may be of sitting in some meeting and listening to people talk on and on and on for hours, or worse, yell and argue and fight about what is going on in the neighborhood. But nevertheless, those board positions are really very important. I like to think of neighborhood associations as the tiniest of all grassroots organizations. I mean, think about it. Whose voices do our elected officials have to listen to? Well, we have a lot of people in the whole city of San Antonio that want something and want something done. Someone's probably going to listen to them, right? But if you're one person and trying to get something done in your neighborhood, what are the chances that you're going to get listened to? Not very likely. But if you're part of a neighborhood association, say Highland Hills Neighborhood Association, with maybe 1,000 homes, what are the chances that your neighborhood association voice is going to get listened to? Pretty good. I mean, after all, you make up 1,000 voters, 1,000 votes, maybe more, depending on how many people you have in your home, and money that people are spending locally in and around their neighborhood. This is true of every single neighborhood. But does that mean you need to be on your board of directors to contribute? No. However, if you should decide to serve on your neighborhood board, I just encourage you to try to do away with the minutia and look at the big picture and be that person on your board that tries to move the board forward and not get caught up in the mire of stuff that doesn't really matter. There are a lot of egos involved. The reason people participate in neighborhood boards are very, very, very different, and that is a good reason. Say crime, architecture, road, or public services, these are all important things to neighborhoods. However, each board is a little democracy. You may volunteer to serve on your board only to find that the rest of the board doesn't agree with you. Then it gets personal. This is your home, dang it. Well, it's their home too. Our homes and families are among the most personal and emotionally charged topics in our lives. This is where the NRC comes in. Where does a group of grown-ups who are responsible, intelligent, and sincerely caring individuals go to learn how to interact with each other? The Neighborhood Resource Center. The Neighborhood Resource Center has put on an annual conference since 1990. That is 23 years of conferences. Have any of you ever attended one of our conferences? All right, great. I'm so glad to see that. Our annual conference is usually made up of 4 to 6 workshops, a morning function, and a luncheon function. And our workshops generally consist of topics like, how do I run a meeting? What are my responsibilities as president, treasurer, secretary? How can I motivate more people to get involved in my neighborhood association? That's what we teach you at the NRC. But for those of you that can't or don't want to serve on a board, the little things you can do help your neighborhood as well. Obviously, such things as taking care of your newsletter, your website, organizing events, these are all great things to do for your neighborhood. And for those of you that do those things, thank you. It takes all of us. Your time and talents are invaluable to the community. But I know that in our neighborhoods, we get tired and bogged down, and we find ourselves doing these things year after year after year. And you don't think that maybe your job is so important because no one's stepping up to help you. But look at it from a different perspective. If you go away, and this event that you do goes away, does that tell you how important you are in your neighborhood? If you're the only one that has that particular talent that can handle that particular task? So for those of you who sometimes feel like you're doing something that isn't worthy or necessary, it truly is, and your neighborhood does thank you. But there are even smaller things you can do. The simplest of gestures go a very long way. Over the years, the NRC has put on workshops that range from neighborhood beautification, safety, fitness, traffic issues, legal issues, you name it, we've probably addressed it in one way or another. Remember, neighborhood organizations are grassroots organizations. That goes down to the tiniest of gestures. If a new neighbor moves into your neighborhood, do you think that stopping by and welcoming them to the neighborhood has any effect? Of course it does. It makes them feel at home. It makes them feel connected to their neighborhood. They are no longer disconnected. You just connected them. What about picking up that piece of litter when you're out on your daily walk? Does that make a difference? Sadly, people are going to be careless about those things. That's probably not going to change anytime soon. But what if we all said, well, that's not my litter. I'm not picking it up. But on the next day, you're back out at your walk, and that piece of litter is gone. Somebody picked it up. How about giving that person a hand? Every single little thing we do has an impact, positive or negative. And yes, being a neighborhood volunteer is often a thankless job. But remember, our neighborhood is where our home is, where our families live. It is the most personal of places, and it's worth fighting for. This is why the Neighborhood Resource Center exists. Let us help you help your neighborhood. Our mission statement is, the Neighborhood Resource Center is a nonprofit organization that enhances leadership in all neighborhoods to promote a vibrant, healthy community through education and networking opportunities. If there is anything we can ever do for you, or if you need help accomplishing something in your neighborhood, please give us a call. Once again, I'd like to thank Karen and Tommy for having me here today. I truly appreciate this opportunity to tell you more about the Neighborhood Resource Center.
Thank you, Susan. You know, Tommy was the founder of the Highland Hills Neighborhood Association and the co-founder of several other neighborhood associations. He likes to say that he believes your neighborhood association membership is right up there with your homeowner's insurance policy. And don't leave home without them, he says. And I have to tell you, if you ever go on a walk with Tommy, you will get more exercise bending over and picking up trash than you will walking. So I hear what you're saying.